Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the day 21 of the Cyber Awareness Campaign launched by Cyber Jagrithi Foundation, covering a multitude of themes on cyber crimes and cyber frauds that are happening in and around us by various sessions, webinars, talks, expert talks, and a lot of workshops. Today, the topic which we are going to discuss is parenting versus cyberbullying. So now this is the era where everything is gone digital. You have the lockdown is a very good example where you have seen how much we are digital. So as a parent, are you a digital parent? As a child, are you a digital child? As a citizen, are you a digital citizen, or say are you a netizen or not? So there are many such questions which are being unanswered. So to give a light on few questions of that, we are having an amazing personality with us, Miss Anindita ji Mishra ji, who is a mom, not mom, she is a cyber mom, teacher, and now a cyber safety evangelist for the last 10 years. Formerly known as, she is not only cyber mom, she is McCafe's cyber mom India. She has recently launched a mission, cyber safety, to make cyber safety a household work in India. Because in every household now, there's a need that everyone must know about the safety and precautions of it. The aim of the program is to bring parents up to date on cyber threats and safety measures, as well as offer both a resource pool and a platform where people can voice their concerns and have their doubts solved. Anindita ji has been appreciated and awarded for her work in this field and has participated in several panel discussions organized by eminent organizations, including the media. She has also been a panelist on cyber safety discussion on news channels, various news channels, which includes the national channel NDTV also in that. And the list is very big. So it's an honor to have Anindita ji with us today and hear from us on how you are a digital mom, you are a cyber mom, and how a parenting must be done in this digital era. Now, without any delay, I would like to hand over the session to Anindita ji and to continue from there. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. It's an honor to hear from you, ma'am. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, Rupesh. Thanks to you and to Cyber Jagrithi for giving me this platform to talk about something very dear to my heart, that is digital parenting. And today, my focus would be on parents versus cyberbullying, because in this world, the digital world I'm talking about, there are a lot of things happening with children going online, especially in the times of Corona, when even schools are online. Children are spending more and more time on gadgets. So what happens is they are continually interacting. Their games are on gadgets. Their education is on gadgets. They are socially hanging out on devices. So the world is very different from the type of the world that we have experienced. And so parents today have a tough time understanding that world and keeping updated on those. So therefore, I'm here to help parents understand what cyberbullying is, how to identify, how to help child be empowered so that they can tackle cyberbullying on their own. It is not the question of sheltering the child, it is a question of preparing the child for the digital world. So, without further ado, let us move on to the topic for the day, parents versus cyberbullying, brought to you by my personal mission called Mission Cyber Safety. A digital workshop requires that excuse me, yeah, uh, give you your workshop task online. If this had been a real life workshop, I would have been making you do some work out here before we got into the actual business of talking about digital parenting, so that you are already thinking and you are aware of what's going to happen down the way. So, before we start, here are three questions I would like you to ponder upon for a few minutes. And perhaps, you could jot down the answers and we'll come back to them later on during our talk. The first one, at what age should you start talking about cyberbullying with your kids, or if you're a teacher, students? What is the right age for starting the cyberbullying talk? The second question, what would your first reaction be if your child told you he or she has been bullied? What would your first reaction be? Think about it. And the third, how best to prevent cyberbullying among kids? What do you think we as parents should do to stop this and eliminate it from the roots? So these are the three questions for you to think upon. Age for starting the cyberbullying talk. Second, how would you react if your child told you that he or she is being bullied? And third, what are your ideas for stopping cyberbullying? And with this, we move on to what is cyberbullying. More or less, everyone has an idea about what cyberbullying is because we have been hearing this term on and off on different social media from parents, from the school workshops that are conducted, or perhaps in some sessions that you may have attended. It's become quite a byword, but as with many things, it is not very clear as to what exactly it entails. So let us start with a definition given by stopbullying.gov. Uh, this site defines
Ma'am, sorry,
cyberbullying.
sorry, sorry to interrupt, ma'am. Ma'am, can you
Yeah,
on the slideshow, ma'am?
yeah. I thought the slideshow was on. Just a minute.
No, no problem, ma'am.
I'll just start again.
We are this culture of this digital culture is new to all. It's just 6 months old culture.
Yeah, I hope everybody is able to see now.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, correct. So, what is cyberbullying? So therefore, I'll just go back to the questions again in case people have missed it. This pre-workshop task, the three questions, just have a quick look at them. At what age should you start talking about cyberbullying? Your first reaction if your child were bullied, and how best to prevent cyberbullying among kids. These were your questions. The next is, what is cyberbullying? Cyberbullying is bullying that takes place over digital devices like cell phones, computers, and tablets. It can occur through SMS, text and apps, online, on social media, forums, or gaming where people can view, participate in, or share content. It includes sending, posting, or sharing negative, harmful, false, or mean content about someone else. It also includes sharing personal or private information about someone else, causing embarrassment or humiliation. Some cyberbullying crosses the line into unlawful criminal behavior. Also, there's a lot of word out there which have crystallized into the main elements in this slide, if you can see. So, the main elements that we're dealing here is with cyberbullying is number one, harassment. Any kind of harassment, whether it be on Facebook, whether it be on Vine or say Tinder, or you may say any of the gaming devices, or SMS, or by through phone calls, it constitutes cyberbullying. Use of internet-enabled devices. So the internet is behind this. The internet age has given rise to the cyberbullying. After all, the word is a combination of cyber and bullying. Bullying or harassment that takes place in the digital world. Even gaming gadgets. So if your child has a gaming gadget, when your child plays online games, he or she is interacting with a lot of strangers and a lot of conversation also takes place. A lot of bullying therefore happens on those forums too. The third element is like social media, gaming forum, chat room, messaging services. These are the platforms that are mainly used. The fourth element, real life bullying, is extended into the digital world. What is real life bullying? Even small things like you're standing in the line and somebody pushes you and goes forward. That is bullying. Somebody calls you out, or asks you some questions in public which is humiliating or insulting for you, that is bullying. Somebody calls you by rude names which goes viral and everybody uses that, that is bullying. Somebody posts a funny picture of you that makes you the butt of humiliation, that is bullying. And when that is happening online, it's called cyberbullying. It can be carried out against an individual, a group, or an organization, and the primary intention here is either defaming, making fun of somebody, embarrassing the person, threatening, stalking, emotionally abusing, or humiliating that person. Cyberbullying has also, over time, extended into the sexual arena with people soliciting sex online or asking for photographs or private data. When this starts happening, it goes into what is called, falls under the category of grooming or pedophile, which we shall also cover. And as children are involved in this, parents should be aware of these problems that often happen online. So these are the main elements: the presence of a digital device, harassment online, extension of bullying into the digital world. How does cyberbullying happen? Why does cyberbullying happen? It's not just because I have a phone that I can bully. It is the anonymity offered by the internet. When I'm sitting at home with my phone or on my laptop and I have created a false ID for myself, I can talk and say anything about myself and the world wouldn't know who this is. Of course, there is a way of finding out using IP address, but not all children are aware of that. So it's basically you become somebody anonymous, so you get the strength to say what you want to say, what you wouldn't have said had you been having a face to face conversation. The other point is the lack of auditory or any kind of visual response. See, what happens is when I'm talking face to face with a friend, I would immediately see the response, the facial expression, the person's vocal response. So if I call somebody by a rude name, I would see the person is getting hurt or crying or angry, and I would feel a bit embarrassed. I may hesitate, or if I see somebody getting very aggressive, I would step back. These things don't happen online. Again, the anonymity, the distance. You can bully anybody from anywhere in the world. So the bully does not understand the effect of the words. Therefore, the bully has no compunction. Extension of classroom bullying and for children. This is basically for children in the school going age children. It's an extension of classroom bullying, anger, fights, rivalry, revenge, and also power play. So, if there are groups in the school and the groups are having fights with each other, naturally it will spread into the digital arena. So, there would be name calling. It is basically it stays in a very basic teasing level where children, continue to pull each other's legs, and till that level, it is fine. It is when others get involved, or it becomes rude, or there's a lot of threatening and abusive words being used. Like you see in recent times, we have seen on Twitter how people are sending threats to cricketers and actors about their minor daughters. Uh, these kind of threats, they could be sent because they believe that they cannot be discovered as they are far away from it, and they cannot be, and nobody would know who they are. Their persona on the online world may be a false one. So that gives them the power to say what they feel, to defame a person. It can also be fired by jealousy. If a child is jealous of another one, if somebody is more popular and somebody is less popular, it always happens that when they come home and if they have suffered some kind of humiliation, they take it out on social media. And power play. the sense of power over a person, if you can defame the person, if you can ostracize the person socially, if you can make other friends laugh and ridicule that person, you have this sense, false sense of power. These all drives cyberbullying urges. Sometimes children with very low self-esteem may lead a kind of double life in the internet world. They might create a profile of themselves where they have a very supermind like ego, where and they can feel that they can do anything online. So that is another reason that leads to cyberbullying. And very important point, lack of morals and ethics. When parents ask me, that why and how do children go and become bullies and what can we do at home because we are not that internet savvy, I tell them that you don't have to be internet savvy. You have to be just what you are, good parents. Like you teach your children, do not lie, do not be rude to others, be kind. You've got to extend this teaching into the internet world and ensure that your children have the same values and practice the same ethics when they go online. And that is the only way you can ensure that they turn out to be responsible digital citizens. So here we find out what facilitates the cyberbullying. And now quickly we'll go over how is cyberbullying different from school or playground bullying. And I hope you have kept in mind the first three questions I asked you. Keep thinking about them when you're looking at these slides. At what age should I start talking about cyberbullying? How and what would be my reaction if my child were bullied? And third, what can I do to eliminate cyberbullying? Now, how is cyberbullying different from normal school or playground bullying? Playground or normal school bullying is limited to few. Even if that few is 50, 60, they are limited in number. Cyberbullying, it is happening in the cyber world, and so therefore the whole world can be party to it. In schoolroom bullying, the friends are involved. In cyberbullying, strangers also get involved. Teasing and rudeness quotient can escalate in cyberbullying with more and more people coming up with more and more ways to embarrass or humiliate the person, and it gets ugly. The impact of all these negative comments on the victim can have serious consequences. This is a peer pressure of a completely different kind because the peer group is not just friends but strangers too or friends of friends also. There are cases where children were forced to take real serious steps because of the negative uh, uh, media remarks that they faced online, and they had not confided in any adult about it but suffered in silence. So, this is what we are driving at for you to understand why cyberbullying is important. Like many parents tend to think that what is so different? Children have always bullied each other. In fact, it helps to keep them grounded. It helps them to know that, all right, I am not somebody great. I am one of the many. That is fine. But in the cyber world, you do not know the strangers who are coming in contact with your child or what kind of things they're telling your child and what effects that is having on your child's psyche. I don't want to share a lot of data with you, but here are three I found that is latest, recent ones from last year and this year that will give you an idea about what is happening in the cyberbullying sector in India. Data from CRI shows around 630 children, adolescents were surveyed in Delhi NCR, of which nearly 10% said they had been bullied online, but 50% of them had not reported it. It also found that the greater time children spent online. Now, time is something we have all got to work about. 2 hours, 4 hours, what time is good time? We'll come to that later. So, the greater the time spent online, greater the chances of getting bullied online. Around 20% of the children said that they had seen morphed images of themselves when their images, were morphed to make them a funny meme or into something that they found embarrassing. Yet, 50% of these children had not taken the story to the police or any other law enforcement agency. According to the National Crime Registry Bureau, cyberstalking of women and children jumped from 36% from 542 in 2017 to 739 in 2018. So there is a rise of cyberstalking or cyberbullying of women and children. So that is why we need to be aware of what is happening so that we can take the right steps. This table will not go into details in this table. This table is only for your knowledge, where you see Indian parents are among the highest to express confidence that their children were bullied online at least sometimes. In 2018, it was 37 compared to 32 in 2011. Many cases have this, of course, doesn't cover all the children or all the parents. So you can see that there has been a rise. The good side is parents are aware. Flip side, cyberbullying is on the rise. These facts and data are important because we now know that the cases of cyberbullying is not something to be uh, dealt with in a way where you think it is okay. This will happen and this will get over. It does not always get over without any harm being caused. So we need to know then, how does cyberbullying happen? So if you're a parent, you would be wondering, all right, how does bullying happen? Is it only a name calling? Is it only sharing of a picture? Here are what are the things that are happening. The bully, or even a friend, or even the child himself or herself shares something online that may be turned into something embarrassing by morphing it, or maybe some embarrassing point about it is highlighted. It becomes the target of a joke. This may include a funny picture, a prank video, a secret that the child had shared with a trusted friend and that was outed, a false or exaggerated statement, a body shaming comment. So somebody puts up a photo, say profile picture, and and some people say, "Yay, good," and some people like it, whereas some give a thumbs down and say, "Oh my God, you're fat," or "Oh, you look ugly," and these have a very, very deep impact on a child's mind, especially a teenager's mind, where they are so very, very vulnerable to people's opinion. They're neither child nor grown up, and they depend a lot on peer support. And when peer make fun of them, they become very, very disturbed. These responses to their posts and comments and pictures can include negative comments, and when outsiders join in, they snowball into something big, what we call videos and pictures going viral. Content is shared multiple times, more remarks come in. Victim is overwhelmed by all the negativity, or there is only one person, who continually trolls the victim, which happens on Twitter all the time, keeps abusing the victim, always finds fault or critical statements are made, till the victim starts feeling lonely or inferior. This causes a lot of emotional and social stress to the child. These are the ways cyberbullying happens. Now, the question is, once these are the ways that cyberbullying happens, we need to report them. Children need to talk to their parents, or if it happens in school, to a teacher, a trusted teacher, who can then escalate it to the principal and counselors. And if it gets out of hand, if there are a lot of threats, a lot of abuses, a lot of dirty pictures being shared, it needs to be taken to the police. But unfortunately, in India, we have seen the cases of reporting to law enforcement agencies is low. Why? Number one point is parents and school authorities, they are not cognizant of the remedial steps. What should be done? There are many parents and school authorities who are not clear on this. There should be clarity. This needs to be worked upon. Also, there is a lot of stigma attached. When somebody writes something dirty, they don't want it to become public. They want to hide it. Kids also fear that If they go to the police, the bullies would take it out on them later on. For this very same reason, children do not want to inform their parents because they think parents will take it very aggressively, go to the school, call the bully's parents, have a discussion, and this may lead to more bitterness. They want to avoid that. They want to hide in their shells. They don't want confrontation. So they didn't tell their parents. So as parents, our duty should be to ensure that the child knows we are not out there to fight, but we are out there to support and find solutions, not add to the problems. Also, there is little awareness of legal options and what people can do and how they can report to social media forums when there are handles and profiles abusing them online. Also, people may lack faith in the system that what can the system do? This is happening in school. They cannot do anything about it. Their support groups for cyber bullying victims are also few in number, few and far between. Good work is done by a lot of youth group today and a lot of NGOs who are coming forward. I'm sure somebody like Cyber Jagrithi, who have a lot of lawyers on their group, who are coming forward to offer free solutions and advice and help to children and their parents. And we should take advantage of that. But they need to know this. How do you know if your child is getting bullied? There is a, from this point onwards, next few lines, it is basically about parents understanding the child, both the bully and the bullied. So let's start with the bullied first. You would notice a very significant change in behavior. A parent would notice somebody who is very fun loving, talkative, smiling all the time, suddenly becomes quiet, withdrawn, doesn't talk much, replies in monosyllables, walks away, does not like to be in company a lot, does avoid social gatherings. These signs, you need to start talking with the child if you notice these signs. You will see the child checking for messages. If a message pings on the mobile or on laptop, immediately going to check and then looking disturbed or shutting off or even staying away from social media and gaming forums. Academics suffer, so do child's interests in hobbies or sports. Child shows total disinclination to go to some place, maybe to some kind particular gatherings or birthday parties of friends, or to schools or some tuition classes. They look quiet, furtive, but they will not open up easily about why it is happening. Nothing. You ask them what's wrong, they say nothing. On the other hand, there is the perpetrator, the bully. How do I identify a bully? It's difficult. But there are signs. It's not always easy. The bully may either be aggressive or timid. Excuse me. Notice their general character. The general character of a child in the real world is reflected in the online world mostly. Has your child been involved in bullying on in the school or playground? Has there been complaints? You need to keep an eye on your child when the child goes online or talk about values and ethics with your child if this happens. Does your child have a habit of troubling younger and vulnerable kids or little puppies? Does the child spend a lot of time online? What do they do online? Do they change screen when you come into the room? Or have you discovered that your child has more than one social media profile, some fake profiles too? Is a child kind or unkind? Or does the child tend to be aggressive, revengeful? Look out for these tendencies. This is normal. A bully is not a criminal. There are normal tendencies that may be the result of some kind of humiliation or insult the child himself or herself had suffered. So it needs to be talked out. So look out for changes, look out for attitude towards children, other friends, see how other friends react to them, and you get an inkling that not all's well in your child's world and you need to intervene. We'll swiftly go over what schools can do because as parents, During PTM meetings, you may have a talk with your school management if they are not doing activities to generate concern over cyberbullying and to stop cyberbullying in schools. So the schools can organize class activities, assembly talks, poster competitions, and regular cyber safety sessions. Also organize similar sessions for parents so that parents and children are up to date around the same platform. They know what we are talking about, they know what is to be done. There are some schools, the principals of whom once told me that they have set up cyber army, cyber senas, constituting of responsible children from senior classes. The whole school knows about them, and if they feel that they are being bullied online, they approach these senior cyber sena, cyber army, or they call the cyber supermen, super avengers, and they advise them how to go about protecting themselves online and tackling such bullies online. They are also acting as upstanders, not bystanders. We'll come to this upstander bystander later on. The schools should ideally have counselors, and children should approach the counselor, or the teacher should recommend them to approach this counselor if they feel they are being victimized online. If the school has a bring your own device policy, like they allow children to carry their laptops and mobiles to school, then the school's duty is to see to it that they are not using these devices for any other purpose other than education. The schools should also have clear-cut policies like no toleration of cyberbullying, suspension in case children are caught bullying somebody, and having regular discussions on this so that this problem can be, taken out from the roots. Now, our main concern, we, the parents. What can parents do to fight cyberbullying? Again, we remember the three questions because in the next three slides, you'll be getting your answers to those three questions, hopefully. In general, these are in general, not for bullied children, neither for bullies, parents or bullies, but in general, these are the things you should do when your child starts going online. Be aware of what's happening on social media. An aware parent is a parent who can help the child be a responsible digital citizen. A very important thing to do is set rules of internet use right at the time when you allow your child to be on the net. You sit them down and together decide rules like what is to be done online, what is not to be done online, what can be shared, what can't be shared, what can be said, what can't be said, how long can the child go on the net, how long can the child spend on social media or on studying. These are the set of rules that you make, and then the whole family, in fact, can sit down and write a pledge. And I share a format of the pledge at the end that this is my internet safety pledge. I sign on it and I shall abide by it. Set caveats, conditions. Once a child is 13-year old, the general age for joining social media, and ensure that your child does not join beforehand. You tell them not to befriend strangers or share pictures with people privately. That is never to be done. No sharing of personal data, and they should practice digital balance, which means not spending 6-7 hours a day with the phone and laptop and gaming device, all devices together. You've got to start small and gradually give them more leeway once they start growing up. So, say for a 7, 8 year old, 1 hour or 2 hours playing games if they can't go down, doing studies, is more than enough. For as they grow older, become more mature and responsible, the time limit can be increased. Pay heed to the terms and conditions that are there on social media sites. Do not sign up on social media without glancing over all the terms and conditions. They are important. In fact, parents and children should together read them because they specify what age, what is to be done and not to be done. Children need to know, and they need to know their parents are aware of these. I would always advise parents monitor your child when they go online. That is, keep an eye on them when they are with devices and mentor them also. Mentor, teach them the rights and wrongs, the do's and don'ts, so that they know. It's just like in the real world, like you wouldn't give the key to your car to your teenager and say, go for a drive. You would first send them for learning driving, get them a learner's driving license, sit next to them. That is called monitoring. Sit next to them for the next 3 months while they are driving around. Let them take their test and pass. Again, have somebody sit next to them, a trusted adult, so that they are sure that this child has learned driving, completed 18 years of age, got the license, and then you allow the child to slowly drive further and further. You do that when the child was on social media too. Do not allow full complete access at one go. Take it slow and make your child befriend you online when they join social media. You'll be having concerns when you're online. You'll see some people making rude comments, taunts. There'll be a lot of sarcasm. Some of it is fun, some of it is hurtful. Talk to your child openly. Is that happening on social media? What do you think about it? Should X and Y spoken to be about it that way? Would they have been a better way of talking about this? Have certain discussions instead of, what did I tell you? This is bad. Stop it. No, there should not be any aggression on your part, because immediately that would be their attitude towards you. Teenage, we all know about it. So let's have discussions, logical, sane discussion that children will understand. And remember, you're the parent. Children are trained to obey you. So if you do the right thing by them, they will do the same with you. Trust them, respect them. They'll also trust and respect. But also at the same time, install parental controls and activate them and let them know you've done it because you care for their safety. Talk, talk a lot with your kids about everything so that your bridges are built, you're connected, you can talk about anything under the sun, and they can then come to you with their problems. If you discuss your teenage problems, like, so such and such things used to happen in class, or so and so had approached me and said this, and this is how I tackled, was I right? What would children do these days? They would also feel free to come to you with their problems. That is important. They come to you rather than anybody else when they feel disturbed or have problems. Now, if your child is bullied, you need to support them first. They need to know you will love them and support them always. This fight is not theirs alone. You are there by their side. That is a big support. You help your child regain the self confidence by doing things a child is good at, encouraging the child to do such things like playing games the child is good at, sending a child for dance and music or painting or other lessons that they have always liked. Encourage them to pick up sports, to have other interests. Monitor their online conversation, because at this stage you need to know that that bullying that has happened does not continue. So what you could suggest to the child is to learn the rubric, about which I shall talk to you later on. That is my own acronym for the steps to be taken. So you'll have to guide children or together decide how to tackle a person who is not being very friendly online, who's being rude and mean. You have to walk away. You have to teach a child you should not stand and accept bad behavior. Walk away from anybody. That is what your message should be. You got to teach your children to be strong, not to be weak and timid, not to accept rude behavior, but to stand up against it and walk away, not to respond, but just quietly leave it. And they should also talk to an adult if they feel disturbed by their behavior. Balance. This the whole family can do together. Please have more device free hours, no devices at the dinner table or when friends or family visit. Talk together. After dinner, you can all sit down together and see a favorite serial or a movie together, or chat, or talk about the school without any devices. Neither the father nor mother nor the elder siblings should take a peek and say, ah, the message has come, let's see. Unless, of course, there is some important messages you're expecting. We'll try to keep digital interference at its minimum. They'll encourage the children also to do the same. The attitude should always be positive. Do not get worked up if your child is being bullied. I know what happens if I'm being a mother. My first instinct would have been to go and fight against the bullies, but that is not the right attitude. You cannot even know who are all the bullies online. So you have got to be a positive parent. You got to talk to the child, encourage the child, make the child feel strong and confident. Also, do not be blind to your child's fault. Be aware of where the child might have gone wrong, discuss, and make the changes necessary so the child doesn't face the same situation again. This is all about if your child faces cyberbullying. What if your child himself or herself is the bully? You got to talk to the child. Again, this time it is about that the device given to the child has been given by the parent. The internet, Wi-Fi connection are all privileges given by the parent. So therefore, if they breach the rules of decorum, they stand to lose the device use privilege. So you need to ground the child, take away the devices till they come to think and tell you why they did what they did, what can be done. So once they start making amends, they'll get their devices back. You have to work out a solution together. But you also have to keep an eye that the child is not, tempted to repeat such behavior. So allow devices. Once you start allowing devices again, only for a limited time and only under your supervision. Switch off Wi-Fi at night. If the child's SIM card is internet enabled, switch it off, or you may remove the internet connection, data connection, and just give them the talk, the talk, and not the data. Help the child understand what he did or she did was wrong, why it was wrong, and how it shows their character to be. Like, what would people reading the post think of them? Talk about their future, talk about digital footprints, tell them that these days colleges, recruiters, they all look at profiles, online profiles, and what would the future recruiters or the college admission councils think about them when they read such post? What will their friends or friends' parents or their relatives think about them? So that is morally wrong. And what is morally wrong? And there can be legal consequences to such actions. The child may not know or understand. It is the duty of the parent to make them understand the consequences of wrong actions. Help the child to find solutions, how to make amends, that if they have hurt somebody, what they can do, together discuss and encourage the child to go forward. Appreciate the child when they take this very hard step. It's difficult to say sorry, to ask for forgiveness, to make amends. Appreciate the child when the child does it. Monitor the child's friend group also, because if the child is joining in a group to bully somebody, then that group has to be removed. The child has to be removed from that group. And if nothing works, there are cases where the child answered back to the parents, will not listen to any kind of talk from parents or school counselors, or locks himself up in his room and spends time on the device. In such cases, you may need to talk to a counselor, and there's nothing wrong in talking to a counselor. They help a lot in helping the child discover why he or she is doing that and to, get back to their natural happy self. That's an aberration. What can the society do for us? So the parents have a lot of things to do. IT acts, government can make the IT acts more stringent. There should be greater clarity on prevention of sexual abuse of children so that minors can be protected online. You have to tell your children never ever to share their photographs with anybody privately. Whatever photograph they're sharing on their page, it is okay, you can monitor those. But if they are sending private photographs through Insta or through WhatsApp, it's difficult to monitor that always. So make it a rule, no sharing and no befriending strangers at the early ages. Only people they know very well are who they're going to make friends. Later on, they can extend their circle. Social media companies also need to have stricter guidelines, and I'm happy to report many they are doing so. And law enforcement agencies should offer better and faster response so that the people have faith and approach them. Now, here is your cyberbullying defense system. The five things that every parent and every child should know. Number one, don't be scared if you're bullied. Stand up to bullies. We don't be a bystander. Bystander is somebody who's watching but does not come in, who may not like what is happening online. See, because many children have said they have witnessed bullying online. So don't be a bystander that you watch and walk away. No, you be an upstander for yourself and for others who are being bullied. Stand up and say no to bullying. Because bullies are cowards. You stand up to them, they step back. Number two, do not react. Do not be drawn into spats. Rather, respond the right way. And this response I call the rubric. Number one, the rubric R for record conversation. If there has been a disturbing, rude conversation, keep a record of it. Take a screen print. Unfollow the person. B, block that person. R, report that person to the social media company. I, inform a trusted adult. And C, change. Change your social media password if your account has been hacked. Change your attitudes towards your friend who are not actually friend, but in a group they try to humiliate you online. Change yourself so that you're less dependent on what your peers say and more self-confidence. So no reaction, only response in the positive way. Remember rubric, RUBRIC. Friendship is very important. We all love our friends. We want friends. Without friends, life look lost. But those who out your secret, who ignore you when you're in trouble, who don't stand up for you or make fun of you in public, they are not your friends. Stay away from them. Walk away. Find good friends, new ones. They're there. Keep your social media profile private, very important. And practice stop, think, share. And lastly, this is the Internet Safety Pledge that I was talking about. This is the kind of pledge that you can have your child sign. I hereby pledge, the name to be written, that I'll follow internet users' rules, share only positive and true content, won't cause hurt or harm, and all this. I'll befriend my parents online. I'll stand up for myself and others and take part in risky challenges like in the Blue Whale Challenge. I would take part in them and practice balance. And also, very clearly, I understand my internet is a privilege, and if I abuse it, I stand to lose it. And the sign and date to be given up so that later on they have nothing to say because they have signed it. And with that, we come to the end of our sharing.
That was very, very amazing, ma'am.
Thank
No,
you.
I think the cyber mom title suits you the very best because you explained it in keeping as a mom in the mind, the context of the calmness, the boldness in the words you were having. It was similar that a mom is explaining to a child. I think my participants will definitely agree with that. So now, ma'am, we'll take out few questions. I think very interesting questions have come. You can also see
Okay.
those questions on the screen. Are there any hotlines, social service bodies that a child or parent can go to when they encounter this kind of cyberbullying which you have shared, especially any hotlines for children or students?
Why don't you tell me, Rupesh, do you have a hotline like that a child can
Yes, they
approach?
can. Yes, for us, if you want to come to Cyber Jagrithi, we have it. So 95012 is the number. You can anytime call to us or just visit cybervakeel.cyberjagrithi.com. You have all the WhatsApp numbers available on there. You can approach to us anytime. Other than that, there are many government bodies also involved. So if you are uh, in Telangana. I'm not sure with other states. If you are in Telangana, you have a separate women and child safety wing. You can approach to them. And next thing is POXO. So POXO also, I'm not sure of the number, so I need to search about that. So you have a POXO helpline number also. You can definitely approach to POXO.
There are many helpline numbers that I share online from time to time on my Twitter handle. Government of India has it. Then the Cyber Dost of Government of India also shares a lot of information. So these the cybercrime police cells of all states, they also have their helpline numbers. Once so you can approach them. But when you have hear what the number Rupesh gave, keep save that number and call them up, and they'll be able to guide you better.
Yes, I'll share my screen so that you can use that number and get help from them. So it is by POXO. So there is something known as POXO e-box, which is by National Commission for Protection of Children Rights. So if you see here, I'll zoom it a bit for you. So these numbers you can definitely use. This is a toll-free number. You can call to that number. This is a normal number, and this is a child line. So 1098, just dial 1098, and I think this will be definitely helpful to you. I think Velan Chandrasekharji, I have answered your question very fine. Yes, we'll go on with the next question. What are the steps parents want to take to protect their children from cyberbullying? I think Shanawaz ji, your question was already answered from the slides which
Yeah.
Madam was sharing. Everything was shared. I think many of the questions which people have posted in this during the starting of the program, everything are answered in the course of this
Okay.
45 or 50 minutes of duration of the talk. Everything was perfectly answered, ma'am. One last question and we'll conclude it. In this lockdown, we have seen that every children is now,
Mm.
if education is happening, it is via digital education only, because schools are not physically open now. So as a parent, as a suggestion, what kind of things should we follow? Because eyes health is one factor. Every time now we are watching on the screens, eyes are one thing, and many people keep the phone very near to that and see it. That is one concern. Also, any other thing, if your experience of having anything, so please do share with that, especially in this digital learning era which we
Right.
are having.
See, the corona has taught us a lot of things. When I do the practice of washing hands, wear your mask, change your clothes, and get for washing, these are the things we do not know exactly why corona is happening and how it can be cured, but we practice these things. Similarly, cyber safety is something that you practice. You use secure devices. When your child is online, you ensure that there is anti-glare glass on the device so that the eyes, the reflective rays do not affect the eyes. Have a lot of device free time. If the child is spending a lot of time studying or doing project work, rest of the time let it not be on the TV. So their gaming or entertainment should not come from devices. Rather than you can have, as most of you are at home now, play family games, have activities planned for them, like Diwali is coming up, so paint pots or paint diyas, things that they can be creative and things that will keep them away from devices. Also, health is important. I have found this to be there's a very positive reaction. I find families cycling together in the morning. So the early hours, going out with your children, going for walks, or if that is not possible, later on in the evenings, exercise is a very good thing to do. So ensure that your children get enough exercise, fresh air, and at home they get enough of digital free hours.
Yes, very well said, ma'am. Also,
One more thing also, if your child is using a phone to study, phones can actually harm the eye. There are ways where you can, connect and streamline on the TV screen. It's not very difficult. You connect, and then if you stream on the television screen, which is bigger, you can see things bigger, and it will be easier for the child, and it will be more attractive for the child too. So you can try it out.
the distance will be more, so
The
it will
distance will
the
be more.
effect will be also less.
The right, the
Yes,
fonts and all will be bigger, so the strain on the eye would be less.
yes, ma'am. Very true said, ma'am. Ma'am, one question.
Yeah.
This is I think yeah, this is already answered in your questions in your talk, ma'am. Ma'am, anything you want to say? So, what all activities are you having? Any activities list or anything which in can engage with children, especially in these times?
I didn't get you. What kind of activities did you mean to say?
Because as you said, you need to engage your children in activities. This question is coming up.
Oh, okay, okay.
Suggestions of activities, physical
Other than
activities.
digital world, yes, physical
Yes.
activities. So, you can think about yourself. When you had a time, when you were younger, there was no digital devices lying around. How did you keep yourself engaged in those days? There can be many. You get your children to be little chefs. You dress them up, you help them make up a chef's cap with a newspaper, and you give them very simple things that they can use to make dish and make and help them to cook and present. You can help them, as I said, paint diyas, or you can help them set up a big drawing board and paint something. If they like music, they can learn music. This is a very good time to learn music and set to tune. They can jam with friends. Here, they get to use the digital device. Or you can have, if there are more than two musicians at home, two or three people, they're going to sing and we play music together. If a child is good at chess, they can play online chess also, or chess with family members. And if your child is good at any other kind of things, or if your child is interested in learning something, this is the time. And this is the time you read out to them. In India, reading out has not been a very popular activity. Every night I advise most parents that spend quality time with your kids before they go to bed. You tell them stories, and if your child is not in the habit of reading books, sit down with them with a nice book. Let them also see the book as you read out, using different kind of voices for different characters, so that they listen to the story. And through those stories, you pass on your family values and traditions. You can talk about your mythology. You can talk about our great kings, history. There's a lot of things to read out from, and the child will slowly learn. And to that, reading is fun. It gives a lot of knowledge that is outside, that is very different from the knowledge gained through Google. And they'll develop the habit of reading too. That's a beautiful way of cultivating it, doing things together. I have seen children putting up videos where they have been planting trees and making cuttings and preparing bouquets of flowers. So anything, imagination is the sky. It can reach the limit of the sky.
Yes, yes, ma'am. I think for that the best thing would be because every environment is different. Every house is different. You can find
Yes.
out solution in your house. And as clearly mentioned, ma'am, this is one thing. If current situation, from my end, I would like to give some answers on that, ma'am, with your permission, ma'am.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, one thing is because now if in it's south state or it's in northern end, Navratri is going on. Okay, so Dasara festival which we celebrate a lot. So the traditions, whichever, you can have some ideas on the Navratri festivals. Next thing is Diwali is coming up, and in India we have tradition that we can cleaning. Diwali means cleaning. Household, everything is getting cleaned on that. You can involve your children in that. House in my house, we do a lot of paintings and all. So creative paintings, engage your child in that. It's not that only bacha nahi karna chahiye. Not that. It's okay.
Uh,
Don't give that labor work to him, high labor work to him. Give little work so that he can enjoy the childhood of his. He should also have some memories. At the end, tomorrow, when it comes to madam's age or my age, he should not say that oh, aisa bhi hota tha kya. All these things also should happen. So let him enjoy the childhood also. Because now, if you in villages might be there things are going on, but in the towns and cities,
mm.
a lot of this culture is lost. So you can only build this culture in the towns and cities. With this, ma'am, thank you so much, ma'am, for
One
this.
more point, Rupesh, when you brought it up, I'm sorry, one
Yeah, yeah,
second.
yeah. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Boys, you made a very important point. Boys and girls should be made to help out. Like in Navratri, I know people in Kerala, they have this school where they decorate all the dolls. So both boys and girls
Batkama,
can be,
Batkama.
you know,
That is true.
but okay, so they decorate all the dolls and all. It's beautiful. They can do that together. I think parents should take this chance of ensuring that boys get to do a lot of the household work, so that there is no gender bias. Gender equality is must, and you start at home. You do not allow a boy to get away by saying a rude word just because he's a boy, and do not stop girls from doing things. just because she's a girl. It'll all reflect in the digital world. If a boy is allowed to be a boy, then he's going to do the same thing online. You control that person. So a boy can wash utensils. A girl can help out with the garage or repairs. Nothing, there's nothing wrong in it, and they should.
Ma'am, actually, a few questions have come. Is
Uh,
there any certification for protection of cyberbullying? Do we have anything such? Any certification course offered by any
There are a lot
organization?
of cyber guidance courses. I know Symbiosis and other universities offer open schooling for different courses. There are short courses, there are long courses also. You may contact the open universities and check out there.
Sure, sure, ma'am. Also, ma'am, I think this is the last question. We are having flooding of questions, but due to time constraint, we can't take every question. So, ma'am, last question is, this is fine. I think in every child, every home, this is found. Child watching phone during dinner or lunch, during having food. So, what can we do on that? Any tips? Do you want to comment on
Yeah,
that?
I mentioned this because I know this is a common problem. Everyone, including the parents, got to keep the devices away. There has to be a tray or a box somewhere or a table. And when they come to the table, keep the phone there and then come to the table. And at the table, have a system of conversation where you talk to each other, discuss how the day had been, what fun things had happened. Even if the children are reticent and say, okay, nothing. Yes, draw them out, talk about yourself and then draw them out, see what, slowly they'll get into the habit of discussing. They'll come to the table all agog and excited to tell you what all has happened. But no phone, not even for the parents. Even if the father is a CEO and expecting a lot of calls, give that time, they will again reciprocate.
Ma'am, I can add some point to that because, as you said, parent also need to do. A
Yeah,
monkey follows a
so
monkey.
parents have to model, yeah, parents have to model correct behavior, otherwise
Yes.
children will not learn.
So I think everyone knows this concept of a monkey follows a monkey. So the
Yeah,
way you do, the opposite person also does in the same way.
yeah.
So if you are having that, you're building that culture. Maybe it's not you can't see the result in the day one, but in the at day seven, in the day 8 or day 10, you'll definitely see the change in the child also, because at least he'll see you are doing that in that way, so he will also change it in that way also. So thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us and sharing abundant of knowledge. And lot of parents are congratulating you for sharing so many tips,
Oh, thank
because
you.
child care is one, because kisko puchenge this is
Ah,
one thing. I think what, this question, when I see outside also a lot of things, there is no guidance for that. Parenting is one thing which is left outside. Whatever you feel, whatever knowledge you have, you just put into that. There is no such guidance. Many less people share, this is the right way you should be doing, this is the tips which you should be doing. And a lot of parents just go, क्या कर सकते हैं, कुछ नहीं कर सकते, कर रहा है. So that with that mood they
correct.
go on. I think with your thoughts, with whatever content you have shared, they will get a lot of knowledge. And already I have been seeing a lot of thank you messages from a lot of people. So thank you so much, ma'am, for joining with us and sharing this abundant knowledge with us. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Rupesh, and thank you, Cyber Jagrithi, for giving me the opportunity. Good night, all.